A mob hitman recalls his possible involvement with the slaying of Jimmy Hoffa. Hey guys, and welcome to my new Netflix movie review for The Irishman. The Irishman is rated MA 15+, and the duration of The Irishman is 3 hours and 29 minutes. Yes, you heard me right. I'll just repeat that. 3 hours and 29 minutes. The Irishman is a bio-crime drama. The Irishman was first released in cinemas in the US prior to it being released onto Netflix in select cinemas. The Irishman is directed by the great Martin Scorsese, and the absolutely incredible, mind-blowing cast of The Irishman is Robert De Niro as Frank Sheeran, Al Pacino as Jimmy Hoffa, Joe Pesci as Russell Bufalio. One of the things that blew my mind about this movie, besides the runtime, three and a half hours, guys. 3.5 hours. Now, straight off the bat, I just need to tell you this. No. I didn't sit down and view this movie in one hit. I didn't, because I just didn't have the time. I viewed this movie in 4 segments. So it got released, I believe it was Thursday afternoon. So I watched an hour and 10 minutes, and if you've seen my YouTube channel, I've actually done a quick thoughts on that. And wow. Because of the fact that I saw it in chunks, I kind of thought to myself as I was watching it, like in sections, I thought to myself, I'm really impressed with the fact that I still know what's going on. I don't need a recap. The reason why is because of the pacing of the movie. There's elements of this movie where Joe Pesci, his character doesn't actually say anything in several scenes, right? There's a few scenes where Russell, he's just sitting there, literally looking at Robert De Niro's character, especially at this dinner table. It is amazing at how much of lack of dialogue and pure facial expressions can literally tell a whole scene. Completely. It was incredible. Do I think that 3.5 hours for this movie was too long? 100%. Does this movie have the key element that every movie in this history of cinema should ever have? Ever? Rewatchability. Rewatchability. Does it have rewatchability? Yes. Oh my goodness, yes. 100% yes. This movie is so ridiculously, incredibly well crafted. It is mind-blowing. Now, one of the things I want to talk to you about really quickly, if you didn't know, they actually didn't use Robert De Niro or Joe Pesci's character at all in this movie as the young versions of them. They haven't got earlier footage of them and then used it in this movie. No. They completely did the de-aging technology in this movie. Was it 100% obvious? No. Did it work? Yeah. Yeah, it worked. Yeah, it worked really well. Man, did it work really well. Something that I found really cool, specifically about the end of the movie, is, and I don't do spoil, anyone who's been following me for any period of time, I don't do spoilers in my reviews, guys, at all. I don't do spoilers. At the end of the film, they do this aging process, and you can tell that they've got a little maybe prosthetics on and stuff like that. They've colored their hair and all that sort of stuff. But it was actually the physicality of their characters more than anything else, specifically at the end of the movie, that really wanted the audience to understand that these guys were now really, really old. That element of the movie was absolutely incredible. It was so well just the acted. It was man alive. Unbelievable. The reason why I really felt the length of the movie, I think, is because of the pacing. It's not slow, it's very steady, but they're really trying to tell this story. They're really trying to bring the audience in to this story. Now, those of you who don't know, the actual title of this movie, now why they ended up calling it The Irishman, I'm not actually sure. But the actual title of this movie was actually originally called So I Heard You Paint Houses. If you don't know what that means, So I Heard You Paint Houses is actually a reference to killing people, is shooting their brains out in front of their house. Why they didn't go with that title is interesting, but another interesting fact about that title is once the movie opens, there's a sequence, and then literally during that opening sequence is the title, So I Heard You Paint Houses. It actually doesn't come up with the title, The Irishman, which is really, really interesting. Guys, there are so many brilliant, mind-blowing elements to this movie, really specifically, the interaction of the characters, the interaction of how they start off as powerless men and end up being who they become at the end of the film. It really is so well laid out for the audience that in no time at all in this movie are you sitting there going, like, not get on with it, but like act already. It is so good. I mean, it is absolutely incredible. When I was watching this film, guys, I want to tell you something really, really interesting that I thought of several times while watching this film, specifically the runtime. This movie is perfect for anyone flying overseas that's going anywhere more than 4 hours. Seriously. Because of the fact of how well it takes you in. Or if you're going for a really long drive, The Irishman is definitely a film that will really, really make the time disappear. Totally disappear. Purely because of how well and how crafted it takes you in. The elements of this movie, the acting, the chemistry, the dialogue, it is incredible. This really is a masterpiece. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I wasn't going to go into this, but I am going to tell you this. I would totally say that you are totally forgiven if you have negative thoughts about this movie and thought to yourself, oh, this is just another mafia movie. I get it. Guys, I really, really, really get it. It does. It feels like another mafia movie. Goodfellas, yep, feels the same as Goodfellas. One of the greats of all greats, The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. Does it feel very similar to that? It does. It really, really does. Does it have that era of movie? Yeah, it does. But in saying that, this movie stands on its own 2 feet. This movie completely stands on its own 2 feet, and it is so executed perfection to perfection. This is a movie that stands the test of time. It really is. Would I have personally seen this movie in cinema knowing the runtime of the movie? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because of the fact of its runtime. Purely. The fact that it was on Netflix, I could turn it off, come back to it, and it would literally start where I stopped it. That was where this movie has, being on Netflix, has the power over any other movie of its caliber, of its genre. Do I recommend this movie to go and watch? Yes. If you have Netflix, guys, enjoy. Thoroughly enjoy this movie. One of the things before I go on to the movie trivia, and anyone who's been following me for any period of time knows I love movie trivia, because that's what I just love, sharing movie trivia with you guys. Anyone who's been following me for any period of time, I'm going to tell you one thing really interesting about this movie. This movie has an element of the wow factor, purely because of the acting and where this movie starts and how they draw characters in, and then all of a sudden there's no questioning, wait, who's he, or who's he, wait, who's he, or what's he doing? None of that. The movie's characters are completely set out perfectly. In fact, it's so perfect that when you meet certain other characters in the film and then stuff happens to them or doesn't happen to them, there's actually a little tiny, right here, right at the bottom of the screen, a little tiny thing that comes up and tells you who that person is, what that person was, and what and the life expansion of that person, or if they're still alive today. And obviously they're not, because this film was made back a while ago. That part of this, that element of this movie, guys, was so vital to the sequences of the movie. Seriously. Trivia time, guys! Al Pacino said that during the process of filming The Irishman was how it felt filming the movies in the 1970s. Next piece of trivia. The Irishman took 106 days to film. This is the longest shooting schedule Martin Scorsese has done in his entire career. And finally, Robert De Niro said that the film represents unfinished business with him and Martin Scorsese and himself. That is incredible. Guys, have you had a chance, you yourselves had a chance to see The Irishman on Netflix? If you haven't, treat yourselves, go and watch it, do what I did. I would recommend that you do what I did and watch it in segments, or just smash it out and just watch it in one big lump sum. If you are traveling right now, go and watch The Irishman, because it will completely fill in 3.5 hours. If you're going overseas or anything like that, check it out, guys. I promise you, you will be completely entertained. You will be completely 100% asphyxiated on the amazingness of this movie. Guys, I really appreciate your time. Seriously, I value it so much. You guys are absolutely amazing. If you haven't and you're new to my channel, please go ahead and hit subscribe. Don't forget to click the bell for notifications, because that way anytime I drop anything, it'll be yours straight on your device straight away. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I really value your time. You guys are incredible. Leave your comment in the comment section below. I'd love to know, have you seen The Irishman and what did you think about The Irishman? Go ahead and smash that comment button. Don't forget to leave a like on this movie review, because that way I know that you're appreciating my content, and I genuinely 100% value that. I just want to take this opportunity right now, guys, before I finish this movie review, to say to all of my subscribers with all of my heart, thank you. Seriously, thank you. Thank you so much for your subscription. I value it so much. You guys are amazing and I appreciate your time. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sticking around. You know who's bringing this movie review to you guys. This is Superman Steve, guys. Flying